I think the first part of this talk, I hope I've convinced you that education, science, and technology hold the keys to our future. I mean, we need to prepare the young generation to be ready for the modern world, for all of these opportunities. And these opportunities are our best hope to deal with all the crises we face. They have to change. I don't want to talk much about this, but I'm sure all of you have experienced inadequate education. Whether it's at school, you're forced to do rote learning, times tables, you have to learn stuff and just repeat it in exams. It's not about thinking for yourself, it's more just repetition to get a grade. That is inadequate. That is not an acceptable form for education. It does not prepare people for the modern world and modern technology, right? And so education has to change drastically to cope with the advances we're making in technology. Science has to change. I believe this very strongly, that ever since science was developed, if you go back to Pythagoras, scientists became secretive. You know, Pythagoras kept his discoveries secret because he knew they were very powerful, okay? And he wanted to protect it. And ever since then, scientists have tended to do that. They live in a world of their own, and a tour ivoire, okay? Many scientists just live in their lab or their university. They want a grant, they want a job. They're happy to do the same research they did forever, okay? And they never explain it to anyone. They just say, oh, it's too complicated for you. You won't understand, okay? Just give me my grant, give me my professorship, I'm chasing a Nobel Prize, okay? I haven't got time to explain it to you. I believe science has to change. We cannot take that attitude anymore. We have to explain to the world, to people, to ordinary people, to people in villages, this is what's coming. This is how the world is changing. You need to encourage your kids to be interested, because otherwise they don't have a future. Okay? So I believe education has to change, science has to change, technology has to change. Technology has very often been used for war, for terrible things, still being used for terrible things. That can't go on. We're in risk of destroying the whole planet and ourselves and making it unstable. We have to control it. And every scientist needs to be aware of their responsibility to change all these things. We have to connect our science to our humanity. We're human beings. We live in a very special position in the universe where we can understand the universe. And we have to use that responsibly. We have to remember who we are, understand who we are, and not just say, I'm a scientist and I will work for whoever pays me and I give them whatever they want. Okay? And it's not my responsibility. No, that's got to change. Africa can lead in this, right? Africa is just entering science. AIMS is one of the vehicles. Africa is almost non-existent in science, but it's going to become very important, because all the young people a lot of them are going to be African. A lot of them have to be interested in science. Africa can lead in making science connect to our humanity, connect to people. That's why we started AIMS in 2003, here, where you are. There's a long story attached with this. This hotel was derelict, okay, was abandoned, and we managed to buy it for a very cheap price because we had no money. And so AIMS' story is very interesting, and you will learn that as you are here. Above all, it's an African institute. It's dedicated to the future of the African continent. As you know, Pan-African Student Body, we try to bring outstanding lecturers. Only the best is good enough for Africa, that's my opinion. Africa has to catch up and overtake. We can't waste time. Second best is not good enough in anything. So we try to get the very best lecturers. We call this 24/7 learning environment. You shouldn't sleep well here. Okay, none of us should sleep well. We've got a lot to do. We haven't got much time. So coffee is the answer. We have to help each other. We have to energize each other, encourage each other. You know, I always think, I want to be the next Einstein, okay? I want to understand the Big Bang. But most of the time, I also want to be realistic, okay? So if I spend some of my time doing research, my own research, thinking, it's my private time, I need to think hard. But also spend some of my time helping others to think. If I can help hundreds of other people try to be the next Einstein, I'm more likely to succeed. In the end, it will be random, right? In the end, somebody's going to get lucky and discover what is dark energy or what happened at the Big Bang. It may not be me. Do I care? Not really. I don't care. I want it to be discovered because I think it's important for humankind. But do I care who it is? Not really. That doesn't matter. And so if I can help anyone to do that, it's time well spent. So always think of your time as being partly for yourself, your personal development, but partly for everyone else around you. Then you're just using your time well. This is our slogan. We want Africa to be rich, so everything we do must be relevant. We don't want to be sitting in an ivory tower. Relevant, I mean very broadly. Relevant means exploring the future, okay? But it needs to be important, innovative. Don't follow traditional approaches. They'll never get you anywhere. If you just do the same thing, you're like a machine. Why bother? Somebody else could do it. You have to try doing things in original, new ways. When you try to solve a problem, try to say, I'm not going to do it the textbook way. I'm going to invent a better way to solve that problem, a new way. Cost effective, we don't waste money here. If you learn not to waste money, you will get more of it, okay? If you waste money, it's gone, finished, you'll never get any more. So, and this is the most important thing. All of us at AIMS try to operate in a high quality way. That means being good to each other, means setting a very good example in everything we do. That's when we started, 2003, AIMS South Africa. 2008, we declared that we wanted to make a network across Africa. In 2011, we started Senegal, 12 Ghana, 13 Cameroon, 14 Tanzania, and then this year, Rwanda. Okay, so these are all the African countries. Here is Thierry Zomahun, our president and CEO, meeting President Kagame in Rwanda. I was there last week, and absolutely amazing things are happening there. Here we are. The AIMS Secretariat is in Kigali. It moved from Cape Town to Kigali. 2 weeks ago, it moved into a new building, very nice building. And here are the staff. And you see what we're doing? What is it? Bolt. Bolt. Okay, so Bolt is my hero. And along with some other people, but he's one of them. And I want to tell you a little thing about Bolt, why he's so important. Jamaica has 10 men who can run under 10 seconds for 100 meters. The USA has 2. Okay? Jamaica won 100 meters, 200 meters in the Olympics in men and also in women. How did that happen? Jamaica's a tiny country. How did that happen? Tell me. Is it genetics? Maybe they all came from West Africa, and everyone in West Africa is really strong. Was it the slavery? You know, they came across in boats, and only the strong ones would survive. Most of the slaves died. Okay? So what's the explanation? Everybody's speculating, because the US is in the shadow of Jamaica right now. Okay? And people are speculating. But Jamaica has the best coaches in the world. This is one answer. They have 10 top athletics coaches. But even more important, every year in Jamaica they have a track and field meet in Kingston, where the best school kids come to run. And for 3 days, everyone takes the day off from work, and they all go and watch. Okay? That stadium is packed with people wanting to know who's the next great sprinter, a 12-year-old. That's how Bolt was discovered. It's in the culture of Jamaica. Sprinting is the thing. Okay? So my slogan in Rwanda is, we need to make Rwanda the Jamaica of science. Okay, it's a poor little country. It doesn't have much, but it is very focused, very organized, very strategic. And if that country can succeed in encouraging kids and young people to get into science, there's no reason why it can't become a Jamaica. So we're doing the Bolt dance, and these are all the people who are working for you. Here's Thierry. Here's our new Chief Finance Officer, our new IT Officer for AIMS Rwanda. There are 2 AIMS alumni, these 2, who are tutors at AIMS Rwanda. I think one of them graduated from here. You probably recognize. Which one is it? This one? No, the other one. This one? Okay. This is the new IGSAN for Rwanda. Okay. So here are all the staff. They work very, very hard. They're trying to raise money. They're trying to organize management, finances, and so on. This was the AIMS Ghana graduation last year. There are many other graduations. You can see all this on the AIMS Next Einstein website. And there's a Flickr feed with all the latest photos. I encourage you to go and look at there. It's always developing. AIM so far, 1,200 alumni, 250 plus enter this month. 30% are women. We don't go below that. Half continue to PhDs. 2/3 currently working in Africa. 3,000 applications this year. So congratulations to all of you for making it here. And we have 6 centers so far, these countries, and our goal is 15. Okay, so we want to have 15 by 2023, and so we're moving very, very fast, but very carefully. Our claim, our slogan is, we want the next Einstein to be African. Okay, we have to aspire to the tops, but more than that, we want to be better than Einstein. Africa provided the world's greatest leader of the 20th century. Okay, I believe that's not in dispute. What we want are people who are both Einstein and Mandela, who are not just intelligent but also wise. Actually, Einstein was quite wise, but unusually wise for a scientist. Many scientists are not very wise. They are very narrow, you know, they're so specialized, they just do what they do, and they refuse to think about anything else. That's not acceptable anymore. We have to connect science with humanity, and that's why I think we need an Einstein who's also Mandela. And that's probably what they will look like. They may be a woman. I hope it's a woman. This is actually an AIMS alumna who came here. She's from Swaziland. Some of you know her. She was a tutor in AIMS Ghana. And guess what she works on now? What field? Physics. Yes? It's the hardest field in physics. What is that? Pardon? Excellent, yes. She's working on quantum gravity. She's at Perimeter Institute, and she's working on quantum gravity and the nature of space-time. I want to tell you about, we have 1,200 alumni. Each one of them has an incredible life story. And I've just spoken to very few of you, but I already know that many or most of you have incredible life stories. You've had to struggle. You've had to overcome almost impossible adversity. Okay? And all of these 1,200 are similar. And that's where we draw our strength from. We draw our strength from where we come from, who we are, and our determination to show what Africa can do. Okay, so never forget your roots. In my own case, you know the best thing that ever happened to me in my life? You know what it was? Both my parents went to jail. Okay? That was the best thing. Why? Because they went to jail for the right cause. They went to jail for fighting apartheid. And through their experience, through their struggle, they became very inspiring human beings. And through that struggle, 30 years later, the world changed. And democracy came to South Africa. Both my parents went into parliament. And that's where I come from. Okay? So I learned from them. If the whole world is against you, or almost all of it, if all the powerful forces are against you, don't give up. If you're right, you'll win. You need to be clever, you need to be strategic, you need to be principled, and you can overcome anything. Small number of people can overcome anything. That's my experience, that's where I come from. That's what gave me the courage to start AIMS. Almost everybody I knew said, this will fail. You haven't got any money, you're not established university, you're going to compete with UCT, they will squash you like a fly. Okay, so everybody made negative predictions, but somehow I knew this is possible. So I want to tell you just one quick life story, one of our alumni. This is Martial. Here he is as a child in Cameroon. Some of you know Martial. Yeah. So he's one of our alumni. I had the privilege to visit his mother. His mother was a single mother. Father left. Father became an alcoholic and left. So single mother raised 6 children on her own. She built her house with her bare hands. She got a piece of land nobody wanted in Yaoundé under an electric pylon. Nobody wanted to live there. So she took it and she built a house with concrete blocks for her 6 kids. She's a market trader. She's not educated. But she raised the money for all 6 kids to go to university. They all went to university. Okay? I had the privilege to visit her. She cooked me dinner. And I was completely blown away. This is somebody stronger than I had ever met. Somebody more determined than I ever met. And I said to her after dinner, how did you do it? Where did you get your strength? And she said, the Lord. Okay? So when people disrespect religion, I don't. People draw strength from it. And you know this. Incredible strength, and often for very, very good purposes. And so I respect it fully. And she is still my hero. I cannot imagine surviving that. I would have given up, right? I would have said, life's not worth it. I prefer to die than to struggle. She wouldn't. She refused to give up. Amazing. And Africa's full of those stories. Again, that is the source of our strength. When we look at people like that, who had no opportunity and yet gave their children this amazing chance, we have to live up to their example. Okay? So here's Martial as a child, and here he is today. So he is a permanent staff scientist at Yale University in the US. He is one of the leading mathematical epidemiologists. He studies disease. and propagation. He publishes, here he is, Martial Ndefomba. He publishes papers in the National Academy of Sciences of the US. He was one of the main advisors to West African governments on the Ebola crisis. He went to West Africa, he studied the spread of the disease, the effectiveness of interventions to stop it. He made mathematical models. He's an excellent mathematician and had a very big impact. Okay? Besides which, he devotes a lot of his time to helping others. He goes to Brazil to teach in the slums for his church, by the way. He goes every year for 3 weeks or a month to teach in the slum kids. And he wants to start a research institute in Africa into epidemiology. So all of his research is into neglected tropical diseases, schistosomiasis, TB, and so this is what he's done. He sets, again, amazing example. I could give you hundreds of other examples of our alumni who, in fact, the book is coming out in November. There's going to be a book of the stories of 100 Ames alumni, their life stories and their hopes. This is what's coming. I mentioned in Africa, there's this huge facility. At least in astrophysics, Africa has an amazing chance, right? 5 years from now. And we have some cosmologists and astrophysicists here. This is what's coming to Africa. It's in our hands. This facility may just be a facility for Western scientists, right? Africa can put a lot of the money, Africa can operate it, and then people from the US or Europe will come and take the data and they will do all the science, right? Or Africa can grow its own astrophysicists. And of course that's happening in a small way. It's not enough. Africa needs to go quickly to rise to this opportunity. This is my slogan in cosmology, right? 30 years ago, when I started working in cosmology, we knew nothing. Every number, there was one number we knew to better than a factor of 2. That was the temperature of the universe. Every other number we didn't know to better than a factor of 2. We didn't know the age, we didn't know how fast the universe was expanding. So we were in the dark ages when I started cosmology. And what we've learned in cosmology is we will see much more than we expect, okay? That nobody would have predicted how much we have learned about the universe today. So my slogan in cosmology is, we shall see. And then, of course, when people ask this question, is it true? Will the next Einstein be African? My answer is just the same, we shall see. Okay. So, thank you.